Bye. Did you see the Poirier fight?
I saw highlights. I was shocked. I was shocked.
Seemed like a good fight. I caught the highlights too. Seemed like a good fight though.
Yeah. Second round. Wow.
The highlights I saw, they were dropping bombs on each other. Like it was a good fight. It looks like I have to stand. I stand corrected. I was talking my shit, and I was
Me
wrong.
too.
So
Yeah, me too. I was wrong too. Yep.
Would you consider it like a major upset?
major, no. An upset, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Because weren't you going to get into something last week? I think about upsets or.
Yeah, we'll go back to that probably another time. I don't consider the Conor losing a major upset, only because of the time that he's had away from the ring.
Yep.
Poirier was still fighting the whole entire time, correct?
Yep, correct.
So, he looked in phenomenal shape. And I'll be honest with you, I like the new Conor. Like Conor's all right, man. I've always liked Conor, but just seeing him in this little light,
What do you mean?
just seems more mellow, more wiser, more mature.
Yeah.
Just and he's just to be more about his business and just talking a pile of shit.
Yeah, he's not wilding out as much.
Yeah,
it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, you're not as young anymore. You can't get away with all that slick shit.
And he kind of admits that, because I was watching some interview and they asked him, like, what's this new Conor we're looking at? He's like, I got a family, man. Like, I'm older. Like, so plus he's venturing off into different businesses. So, he's just older, wiser, man. I appreciate that. I was just talking to somebody today, just where we're at now and why we're there. And, it sucks that I have to admit it's taken me a while to get my things going, and I'm older now, but I find myself at the age I'm in now in one of the better spots I've ever been in, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, because I guess I'm in the same boat as well. There's a lot of things that I thought in my head, like when I was younger, that I thought that would have happened by now, and they haven't. But yet I'm not like super like devastated, or like I feel better about where I am now compared to how I was, 15, 20 years ago, overall.
No, I agree. We get older, we get wiser. We're not, we say we're older, but it's not like we're 60, 70, 80, 90. Like technically, and I've heard a couple of on Instagram. I don't follow a lot of people on Instagram, minus my friends, but the people I do follow are people I like to be influenced by. So it's like people that's been, that are successful business people, motivational pages and things like that.
Right.
And I forgot the guy's name, but he's very successful. And he's like, yeah, I'm in my 40s now. He goes, honestly, I feel better now than I ever have. Like, and he was just breaking that down and just kind of made me feel a little bit better about where I am. And obviously we are not where we want to be now, but comes with age, man. Comes with wisdom. So
seriously.
Mr. William, how you doing, bro?
Doing all right. How about you?
I'm all right, man. I can't really complain about it too much. Like I said, man, we can't complain. Like Len said so eloquently last time. Oh no, we can complain. But we just have to roll with the punches, man. So really, if it's not life-threatening or somebody being very ill in one's family, what are we really have to be mad about? We just keep on getting up. We try. We get knocked down. We get up. We try again, and that's what it is, man. So, life is good, bro. As best as I can put it, huh?
No, I said as it could be.
As it could be, man. Yeah. So, I know something touched the button on you yesterday. You want to talk about it?
Who, me?
Nah, Will.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, so I'll go right into it. So after I saw this, and I kind of lost all my respect for Undertaker.
Oh.
when
Oh
I
my
saw
God,
this comic.
you were a servant. You were like part of his crew.
Yeah, I'm definitely an Undertaker fan, most definitely. He has the best entrance of all time. But yeah, after I saw this thing, I was like, he sounds like just like another old man, just mad that things aren't the way they were 30 years ago. I mean, so he said, in that era of guys too, those were men. Those are men. You go into the dressing room nowadays, and it's a lot different. I remember walking into my first real dressing room, and all I saw was some crusty fucking men. Half of them had guns and knives in their bags. Shit got handled. Shit got handled back then. Now you walk in, there's guys playing video games and fucking making sure they look pretty. It's evolution, I guess. I don't know what it is, but I just like those eras, man. I like when men were real men. And then something hit me yesterday. I was like, when Undertaker first came out, this guy was wearing makeup and eyeliner. So what the fuck is he talking about?
There you go.
That's part of the
This is a
character.
soap opera. Wrestling is almost like a soap opera.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's
And
acting,
then
makeup, and there's fake props and all that stuff. So, not to say that that should be like a female or male thing, but like, you know, that doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't translate to what he was saying, you know?
I just really think he thinks, again, like a lot of people who get old, things 30 years ago should be the same 30 years later now. And it's like, okay, how are things going to progress? Like, if shit was the same as it was 30 years ago, it makes no fucking sense.
So I that didn't make me lose respect for the Undertaker. I'm gonna say here's probably why it's shitting for you either. He's from a generation. You know, we are from our generation. There are people that are gonna look. I mean, man, look, hip hop fans were going, "Ah, man, you about that struggle rap. You're about this, the drug dealer raps. Like you're about this, this, this." That's our generation. This generation's mumble rap, and you know, they say our generation were the dealers. This generation is the users. That's, you know, the difference is there. When you go into any, and it's true. I've heard enough stories and I've seen enough interviews to know that back in those days, I think Roddy Piper pulled a gun out on Jake the Snake one day because he was gonna fuck with him with the snake, and he just pulled out like, "Yo, get that shit away from me. I'm not fucking around. I'm gonna shoot you." And you know, he was like, "All right, fair enough," and put his hands up and walked away. But it's like Undertaker said. It's not, I guess, but it's true. It's the evolution of things. The problem with his generation, yeah, you can quote unquote say they were men because they were just, let's get drunk, let's get high, let's have some bar fights, let's carry guns and knives in our bags, and let's be men. I get what he's saying, but okay, but you also had people that were ODing. You also had people that were getting stabbed and shot, and you had people that were dying earlier than they should have because of the things that they were abusing. So,
Right.
okay, were they quote unquote men, or they were just trying to figure it out? The evolution is the newer guys have it figured out. I don't need to go out to the bar scene, get hammered, wasted, do a line of coke, and you know, go threaten somebody and do this, that, and the third. When nah, the generation now, I'm just gonna be home playing Madden. That's what brings me happiness. It's sorry, it's not to, you know, again, it's his generation. Like that's what you're not used to, but you're not supposed to be used to it. That's your generation was that.
No, and it's something to keep you safe in a way, you know, like less drama outside, less outside wrestling drama, you know, like you said, you could be at some bar, some club, whatever, and then caught up in some shit where you get in trouble and you won't be able to wrestle anymore, and then like you're kicked out of it, you won't be able to do that. So like if you're just chilling, I don't know what the problem with that is.
It's keeping them out of trouble.
Yeah.
It's a form of, it's an activity that they enjoy doing. But it goes with the technology because they didn't have video games back then. Back then, it was every night after wrestling, we're all going to the bar, get hammered, probably get into a bar fight. Hopefully, Scott Hall shot somebody in the face. He was a bouncer and all that, but all right, like we get it. That's your generation. That's what you did. But just because that's what you did doesn't mean it was the right way of doing things. And if these dudes, same thing with athletes, like now athletes, they're all playing like the NBA dudes. They're playing Madden. Like they're online fucking around with other players. That's what they did. That's what they do. When the players back in the day, if you saw the Jordan, The Last Dance, when he was a rookie, he went to a hotel room with all the players there, and it was weed, coke, and hoes. And he was like, nah, that's not, I'm good. That's not me. I'm just here to play ball. That was his generation, or that was him being not that generation of the old guys that when you walked into the hotel room, everybody was just acting a fool. The Dallas Cowboys, sorry, Len, but the Dallas Cowboys, it was a coke hooker fest. Same thing with LT and most of the Giants. Like, that's their generation. This generation, they'll just play Madden, or they'll just play something. That if that's what you want to do to kill time and to just have an activity that just kind of eases your mind of everything, it's not my decision or your decision to say, well, that's right or wrong, because I could look at the Undertaker's generation and be like, yo, you guys lived wrong, man. Like, you weren't doing things the right way.
And I'm sure just as the Undertaker is saying that the elder statesmen of the WWF or wrestling at the time, they probably had beef with Undertaker and them and everything that they were doing,
Every generation grows up harder. Like our generation, whatever, was like the birth of the internet and all that. So the generation before us had to do things with their time. Some of it, depending on where you grew up, wasn't cool. It was, it was a lot of illegal shit. Like the generation before that was worse. The generation before that lived a harder life. So you had to be harder. And that's all it is. It's like the Undertaker said, though. It's the evolution, other than the I guess part. It's the evolution of it all. Generations ago, there was nothing to do. But that's why they knew more shit. That's why they were more handy. That's how they got shit done. And now with the technology and all that, like that's the bad part of our generation. And that the evolution of it is we've gotten softer. I'll say that. Generations, we keep getting softer because things are more handed to you. Back in those days, you needed an answer. You had to go find the answer. Now you just hit the little microphone button and you ask your phone and your phone will give you an answer.
Right.
So there's pros and cons to it all. I'm not mad at because that's his point of view. I can't knock his point of view. That's the life he lived. I don't know how the Undertaker lived, but if he's saying that he'd be in a locker room and there'd be nothing but guns and knives and all kind of crazy shit happening, half the dudes when they were doing their promos, they were coked up. Like, I love Macho Man. He was not in his right frame of mind doing those promos.
The Warrior too. I don't know what he was saying.
They were on something, but that was generation. Like you weren't the cool dude if you weren't doing a line of coke or doing some shenanigans or getting a hooker I don't have a problem with hookers, but that's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. If this generation has it more figured out that, hey, I don't need these things in my body. I don't need to do a line of coke. I have Xbox. I can connect to the world and just fuck around with this video game that brings me joy. Just like I can't say, Undertaker, you were right or wrong, but you were just doing, same thing with this generation. Not saying you're right or wrong, but this is what you're doing.
He probably can't play Fortnite. That's what his problem is.
Yeah. He had Pong. Like it was either Pong or go punch somebody in the face in the bar. He was just like, fuck it, I'm going to punch somebody in the face in the bar.
Yeah.
Like I like Xavier Woods. He's a video game head.
Yeah.
Now they have different avenues. they have Twitch accounts, like they have all these other things to reach out to media and reach out to their fans that the Undertaker necessarily didn't have. If he was growing up in this generation, he'd probably be more like this generation. He wouldn't be swinging a bottle of whiskey to the head and, you know, just acting a fool, because that's what was accepted back in those days. So I'm not mad at the Undertaker. I didn't lose respect for him. It's just you're an older dude, man. Like, you know, you're just an older guy. That's how you lived life. And a lot of people are stuck in their ways. Like, we're in our ways. You know, that's what he did. He looks at this generation like, again, like, I'll go to rap. I look at these mumble rappers and I'm like, oh God. But that's what everybody likes. That's what this generation likes. So who am I? So that's just the life and the era I lived in. You just have to adapt more. Don't be all negative about it. I used to hate the mumble rappers, but now it's just like, hey man. And even though I didn't like them, I never like quote unquote hated on them. If you're making your money, you're doing what you're doing. Continue to do what you do.
Yep.
You know, just not my cup of tea. Undertaker's looking around and seeing all these people on the video games bullshitting and being more kids than he was at that age. You know, not hating, just not his cup of tea. And he's actually loved in the locker room by every interview and everything I've ever seen. Like he was the guy everybody went to. You know, he was the father figure in the locker room. So he has the respect. And, you know, if Xavier Woods wants to slam him for what he said, he could, but that's just, you know, again, that's just how he lived in the generation he lived in. So, you know.
What was Xavier's Woods' response to that?
Do I have that here?
I just saw the headline that said he slammed them for those comments, and that's kind of just where I left it at. Because Woods is a gamer. Like he has his own YouTube thing, and he just goes to people's houses that have video games set up and old Nintendo shit and all this other things. Like he is a gamer. He's a big little kid.
Nice.
You know, nothing wrong with that. You know, that's how we kind of live our lives. We're like big little kids, just adults about it. He's kind of the same way. So again, like my father's from like the Undertaker's generation, so he'd probably look at them like, "What the fuck are you guys like? What the fuck is this about?" So,
come on, how many times did you get yelled at when you were younger? Do something constructive, or stop playing the video game, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and it all came from the generation before us. It didn't come from.
Exactly. Look how much that shit is ruling everything now. Same thing like with comic books. Like, used to get knocked like, oh, you read comics, you're what's running Hollywood right now?
It got so popular they changed it to graphic novels. It's not even like comic books anymore. It's a graphic novel, and you know, it's to what everybody prefers. What you got, Will?
I mean, for me personally, I move and I adapt with the times. Fashion wise, you know, music wise, I mean, there's mumble rap out there. Sure, there's some mumble rap that I won't listen to, but there is mumble rap that I will listen to. So, me personally, I adapt with the times. When this whole first person shooter thing came out, at first I didn't like it, but now I like it. I play it. So, I mean, I adapt with the times. So, for me personally, I just see Undertaker as like just one of those, what do you call them? Back in my days guys. Everything's back in my days. Like, yo, them days is over. Get out of here.
You know what? I always have admired that about you. You have always, as long as I've known you, you've adapted to the times about anything. I remember you definitely used to hate first-person shooters. I used to hate first-person shooters.
I still hate them.
But there's you know, sayings are cliches. They are those, but they're there for a reason because they're true. Like, adapt or die. If you don't adapt, you're a dinosaur, and they're extinct. Not saying Undertaker has to, give me a controller. Let me figure this out and, you know, and do that. But That's what this is. It's a new generation. And every generation comes with what they come with. That's why it's a new generation. You don't have to love it, but you have to respect it. And in turn, the new generation should respect the old generation. It goes both ways.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was talking to a friend, and Will, that was good shit, man. That was good shit. A lot could come out of that, man. So appreciate that. So I was talking to somebody, and somebody I haven't talked to in a long time, and we were just conversating, and about like in a 15-minute conversation, this person kind of said, "I'm an idiot. I'm a fucking idiot." Like that. I just kept saying things to degrade themselves, and I brought to their attention. I'm like, like, what are you doing? Like, you just criticize yourself in this 15-minute like 5 times. And she was like, "Nah, I'm just joking." And part of it was joking. Part of it was just like, "Oh, I spilled my coffee. Oh, I'm a fucking idiot." Like, was something like that. But that made me think, and I talked to her about it. I am a firm believer in, I used to not be, now more so than ever I am, of what you say, you put out there. And it comes back to you, positive and negative. So I was taught to watch the words that come out of your mouth, even jokingly, because that will come back to you. Whether it's, I'm not religious like that, but they say, we're in tune with the universe. We are one with the universe. So that frequency, it bounces back. The things that you want, you put out there. But sometimes the negative things you put out there, there's no filter on it. So the negative things you throw out there are just as powerful as the positive things you put out there. And, during this conversation with this person, I'm like, look, man, you have to realize, even jokingly, the universe doesn't know it. And there's a reason that you look at the people that, and I always say like the successful people, but I always use them as an example because they're successful. Name me one successful person that puts themselves down. That go, "Oh, woe is me. Oh, this is a bullshit life. Oh, I'm always fucked up. Oh, I'm always this on a negative sense." Name me one. You can't. The people that are fucked up in life, "Oh man, nothing goes my way. Oh, this is bullshit. I keep getting dealt a bad hand, bad luck, bad this. I'm an idiot. I'm fucked up. Da 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 da." There's a reason for that. It really is what you put out there, you come back with. You cannot find a successful person that has a negative attitude towards themselves or about life. You can't. I dare you to find me one. And even if it's the littlest things, and that's what I was telling the person, like even the littlest things, like stop with the "I'm an idiot." "Oh, I'm an idiot." Even if you're joking, no, you have to be this. And I told him, and she was like, "Well, it's habit." I get that part.
No, I was about to say that, like, yo, that shit could be addicting. And like when you start in that mode, that's all and that's, you're gonna constantly do that. And then like, I'm glad that you said something to them, because some people won't do that. That's one. And then two, if that person doesn't see it, they're just gonna continue doing that.
And they won't understand why things happen to them like that. I'm a firm believer in violence begets violence. Like everything begets everything else. So your negative begets negativity, but your positive begets positivity. Put those positive things out there, even if things aren't going right. Be as positive as you could be toward yourself and the situation you're in. And I could speak from firsthand experience. I was the person that always was negative towards myself. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm an asshole. Like I'm this. Fucking nothing good happens to me. Like this world is shit. I always catch the bad side of it. This, that, like everything negative I would shoot out there. And then wonder why I was always stuck in a negative area. I couldn't get out of the things I couldn't get out of, but I kept talking about those negative things like that's all that was in my life. And it's not until you start to develop this other habit of, you know what, I'm good at what I do. You know what, life is good. You know what, I'm gonna make it. You will see a change in how the life treats you like that. Because again, like, it's crazy. But it's like that. It's like that book, that little documentary, The Secret. You know, what they teach is very simple. What you put out to the world comes back to you. But there is no filter. So if you are 100% negative, 100% negativity is coming back to you. Again, tell me a successful business person that's making it in life that has constantly talks negative. Can't. There's a reason for that. If you could find me, if it was split 50-50 between the people that are positive and the people that are negative, but they're successful, you can call bullshit on that. But you cannot find a person that's doing it in a positive manner that thinks negatively about themselves or the life they lead. You get stuck there. And like you were just saying, it's habit. It's habit. So what I told this person, because she's like, yo, it's habit. I'm just used to saying that. I was too. But what I told her was, look, when you find yourself saying those things, you have to instantly recognize you say it. I'm an idiot. The moment you say that, you have to now go into your head and go, all right, that wasn't me. I didn't mean that. And then do the opposite. I'm not an idiot. I'm this. I'm like, you don't have to say that out loud. But when you catch yourself saying something that you didn't want to say, that part is on you. You have to instantly correct yourself in your head. Do that, and you start to develop a new habit. A habit that's going to bring you out of the bullshit that you purposely bring yourself in. Accidentally or not, you are bringing yourself into that frame of mind. That negativity, you have brought yourself there. And once that happens, it's on you to dig yourself out of that. And you have to do it with the opposite way of your of how you're thinking. Like I said, man, like, everything begets everything else. So that negativity you shoot out there, make no mistakes about it. Like I said, there's no filter in life. You know, the universe accepts it and it'll give it back to you. But if what you're giving out is negativity, I can never get out of my bills. I'm fucking in debt. I keep doing this and this and this. All right, watch more debt come to you. Watch that financial burden still be there. When you start to say the opposite, man, my money issues I'm digging my way out of it though. You start to have a positive outlook and you're going to conquer this thing. Watch how you slowly start chipping away and getting out of that zone. And then once you put that positive spin on it, that's what's going to come back to you. So, you know, I told them about it. They said they understood. Whether they followed through or not, that's going to be on them. You know, I'm in that book that Gray. Remember that interview with Gray I had? I'm in that book that he's talking about now. Think and Grow Rich. It's partly The Secret. You know, what you put out there is what you're getting back. So don't be wondering why you're in a tub of shit when all you're thinking about is being in a tub of shit. But the other part of that book, and it's the very important part of that book, is, okay, you now have these thoughts of positivity of what you want. You know, you want to be a millionaire, so you think like a millionaire. You think you already have it. You are in that millionaire mindset, and you're halfway there. The other part of getting there is applying that train of thought and then figuring out a strategy and game plan. And while you have those positive thoughts, like nothing is going to stop me from being a millionaire, you then put that strategy, you apply, you know, like I always say, knowing and applying. You can know all day. You can have those positive thoughts. You could say, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. But if you're just standing there scratching off lotto tickets, just saying I'm a millionaire, good luck to you. You'll just be a positive person. If you have I'm going to be a millionaire This is how I'm going to do it. And every day you keep that millionaire mentality, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. And the application of it coincides with the thought and the positivity. You know, chances are you're going to get it. Like what I'm doing and the things I'm doing beyond this podcast is starting to manifest slowly. It takes time. Like you're not going to do it overnight. But the things I'm trying to do, minus this podcast, minus all the other things that, you know, we talk about daily, there's other things I'm trying to do. For a while, I was in a bad spot mentally, very depressed, very negative, and stuck in this thing that didn't move for like 4 years. But now, once I learned that quote unquote secret, once you start applying what you're going to do and you start to put yourself in a better mindset, and then you start to get away from that debt and those things because your mindset is more positive and you're not solely thinking about that negative, because that negative is going to come back. And that's what you're putting out to the world. That's what you're going to get back. So now I find myself in a place that, am I a millionaire yet? No, obviously not. But am I now in a better position in the short amount of time I've had that difference of mindset than I was for those 4 years while I was just negative and depressed and thinking negatively? Hell yeah. So what the future is going to hold, don't know. But I know I'm on the right track. The mindset is there. The application of the strategy is there. At that point, there's very little that can stop me from doing it, minus like death or something. So it's just something that this conversation happened midweek, and it's such a powerful thing, man. Like that a lot of it is mindset, man. You know, I always say if it can't get you here in your mind, there's nothing else that can really get you. But to see somebody, you know, I've known this person for years. I haven't spoke to him in years. And, you know, going into the conversation, I'm in a different mindset. I'm a more positive person. I'm in the mindset of when I heard this person talk the way she did, it fucked me up. Like halfway through the conversation, I'm like, yo, you know how you're talking right now? And then that went into a whole other thing, and that's why we're here right now. But
it spills over, man. Like, I've had coworkers where basically all they talk is just negative throughout the entire day, and that shit is exhausting and draining. And like that, sometimes just to overcome that is more work than to do actual work. You know,
it's harder to be positive especially when things aren't going right. But it's more draining to be negative. If that makes sense, man.
There's a couple of people that I'm thinking of in particular that like, yo, it's just draining, man. And then the whole day, and then again with the other frustrations is just life, with the daily stuff that you got to deal with on top of that. Like, yo, sometimes you don't need that ever, man.
Life is hard, man. Like life is just difficult. But if you're in a mentality that goes with your difficult and you're just negative like that, it's draining. Like it is soul sucking.
Yeah.
You know, I read somewhere that, you know, how you spend the first hour of your day is going to dictate how your day goes. And in The Secret, I watched that a while ago, but in The Secret, if you wake up and let's say you stub your toe or you spill your coffee, and like, you know, your day doesn't start out how it starts out, but you are negative about it. You're cursing. You're like, fuck this day, and this is going to be this type of day. Yeah, it is, because that's what you're saying. Yeah. This bullshit that's happening to you in the beginning of the day, if you're going, this is how my day is going to be. Yeah, that's what you're putting out there. So yeah, when your day is like that, and then it's just a cycle.
And you're basically looking for any little thing to kind of to keep that momentum going, as far as like, or that narrative going, as far as like it being negative.
You continue that cycle. You continue that narrative without even realizing it. if you're just going, fuck, this is this fucking day, fuck this day, and this is the bullshit that I'm gonna have to, that is the thing I have to deal with every single day. They don't even realize. That's what they're attracting. So yeah, that's what your day's gonna be, because you've already said that that's what your day's gonna be. Shit happens. You spill your coffee, okay. You stub your toe, ouch. It sucks. You feel like you're gonna die for like a hot second. But if it happened and you can get past it and still see the joy of the day that's ahead of you, or just go, damn, that sucked. Like, make a joke of it. If you could laugh at something that would turn somebody upside down and have them have that mentality that it makes their cycle continue, just stop it as quick as you can. Like, you spill your coffee, damn, whatever, but still could go into the positive vibe. You break the cycle of that's what your day is going to be. Wake up with a good attitude, man. Take the punches as they come. Take them with a positive outlook. And yo, I know that's hard, man. Get it. Life is not easy, dude. But you get two types of hard you could choose. Like, being broke is hard. They're saying being rich is hard. All right, pick your hard. Like, nothing is easy.
I choose the rich. I said I choose the rich hard.
That's what I'm saying. But that's the point of that. Like, the negative and the positive, they're both hard. Pick one. But if you pick that positive hard instead of that negative, that difficulty that comes with the negative, you're gonna reap the benefits of that. Like, pick your hard. It's all hard. Life is not easy, man. Whether you're struggling to make ends meet or you're a business person that just runs around all day doing business shit, like, they're both not easy. So pick one. Stop living down the middle and definitely get the fuck away from that negative side of it. Get your negative talk away from me. At this point in my life, people that are negative, get away from me. Even if I love them, if I love you, but you are just constantly negative, I can't be around you. And that comes from a person that has been there, done that. I've lived my life more on the negative side than the positive side. It's one of the things that's like now, what we were talking about earlier, you get older and, you know, you realize some things, you're a little bit wiser. I wish I had known those things when I was younger. I didn't. I lived in a very bad darkness back in those days. I was super negative, man. I've been depressed. My family's dealt with depression. I've been there, done that, longer on that side than being positive on this side of life. And I'm probably in the best place in my life on this side right now. And all 100% of it is mentality. Coming from me, my point of view, with the bullshit I had to live with and where I'm at now. So yeah, what you put out there, man, it comes back. And everything is difficult in life. Pick one. But pick the right one.
So wait, but besides obviously stopping like the negative thoughts, like what are some things that you do to combat when you know you kind of feel like you're going down that road again?
Because I know what that side is. When you choose to no longer be in that side of things, because again, that mentality is soul sucking. It drains you, man. It fills your head with bad thoughts. It fills your head with suicidal thoughts. It fills your head with the joys of not wanting to live rather than the joys of what's in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, I never, in my worst, did I think about suicide? Absolutely. Did I at one point have my gun in my hand, like contemplating things? Yeah. But that's easy. And that's coward's way out. I'm living life. While I'm here living it, I need to change some things. My mentality had to go. That's really it. What are the things when it comes back and I see it coming? Dude, it's remembering that train of thought. Remembering that darkness. I'm still in that darkness. But I think they say you never conquer your demons. You just come to terms with them. Like, me and my demons have come to terms. Hence why I'm here now with the train of thought I have now. there's been times, dude, that a couple of rough patches have come, and I found myself starting to take a step towards that negativity. What stopped me was remembering that train of thought and that negativity. I don't want to ever be there again. There's so much bad that comes with having that mentality and those train of thoughts and being in that negative area. It drains you, man. It damages you. It fucking damages you, man. And I've been damaged enough to know that, all right, I'm good. Like, I've done it that way. I'm actually all right here. When those bad times come and I start to trickle down that area, I remember what that shit means. And I remember what it's like to be in that zone. I don't want to be in that zone. So that end, like, for me, that's my answer. Like, I don't like being there because I know what the end result is there. I've seen it from my family members, from people I love dearly, and I've seen it from me. Part of the reason where I'm starting those things now, when I had a 4-year hiatus, was my mentality. That woe is me aspect of it. That this is never going to get better. And you know what happens? It never gets better because that's what you're putting out there.
Yep.
That negativity is an anchor. You drop that shit in, that's where you stop. That anchor, man, that negativity is a fucking gigantic anchor. Once that shit hits the water, you're there. And that's where you stay. And it took me years, man. More years than I would like to admit. And it's semi-embarrassing to admit that I stayed there as...
There's nothing embarrassing about that, man.
I get it. I appreciate it.
I see what you're saying, though. I see what you're saying, but like, yo, you ain't the first one to go through that. And not to like to lessen what you're going through, whatever, because it's not like that. It's just like this is something we all got to go through, I think, eventually. There's no one that's completely 100% positive all the time, you know, unless you get like a certain level of knowing yourself and of your life that you can like, that's way behind you. But even then, I'm sure there's people that there's a little doubt that creeps in every now and then for some, you know.
But that's part of the realization too. Like, part of the getting that anchor back on your boat and fucking continuing sailing is, you know what? I have it bad. I have it worse than some, but there are some that look at the bullshit I'm going through is gonna be like, yo, suck it up. It ain't that bad. Because this is how I'm living. Yeah. And I know enough to know that, you know, I don't have it as, you know, it's at its worst, it's been bad. It has been. I wear that on my sleeve. You know, it is. I'm at my worst. My bad has been bad. But my worst doesn't compare to other people's just normal bad. And there's some people that look at my bad like, oh my God, how can you get through life? I've had people that tell me that. Like, how do you do it? And part of it is, you know, dealing with it. But the other part is that realization of, well, look, man, as bad as I have it, other people have it way worse. A lot more people have it way worse than me. That's kind of grounded me through it all. And that gives me perspective. And that helps me move forward in it. You know, because again, you can sit back and complain, but I can complain, but there's somebody that's going to be like, yeah, go ahead and complain, man. I get your pain. And there's other people that's going to be like, man, stop being a bitch. I'm going through this. Yeah. It's like, oh shit. Yeah. You know what?
There's a coworker that I know, and she's been dealt like a hard hand as far as like getting into an accident and being wheelchair bound for the majority of her life. And you would not meet such an amazing person. You wouldn't think that anything like that has happened to her. So every time I come across her, and like just how nice and pleasant and just how positive she is, it's like, yo, what the hell am I crying for? What am I crying for? What am I crying for?
That's perspective, man. Like, how can I go further into this conversation talking about my bad when I can get up and walk? And there's people that can't.
Just the process of her, like, either going to work or getting to work would annoy the hell out of me. All that she has to do just to get into her vehicle and put the wheelchair away and all that stuff, I'm like, yo, this shit is exhausting. And I have to do that in the winter and the summertime by herself. I mean, And again, I'm upset because I'm 5 minutes late, or whatever the case may be. Like, there's something else that would trigger me to be upset, and then you see her, and it's just like, wow.
Okay. That's what I'm saying, man. Life will give you perspective, dude. I mean, I get. Look, whoever's going through it, I get it. I get it, man. Like, it's hard, and I feel for you. But ultimately, you have so much to do with the situation you're in and getting out of it. It's on them, like it's on me, like it's on you and you. Where we go, negative or positive, 99% of it is solely on us. A lot of people just stay stuck, man. They just stay stuck in the darkness and complain about it, not realizing that they're there because of them.
Yeah.
And same with the people that have made it, people that live positively. Like, maybe they were in that main frame of mind before and now they're here, or maybe they were just always positive. But they're there because that's what they decide to be. Like your friend in a wheelchair, your coworker in a wheelchair, as a positive person, because that's what that person decides to be. Where, you can find somebody else in that same similar situation and be the most miserable person in the world. The perspective, man, how you see things. A lot of things are a positive or a negative. It's just how you see it. And like I said, man, it took me longer than I want to get there, but it's all on them. So that's really all I wanted to say on that. Again, just having that conversation with that person and just maybe reaching out to somebody that could hear this and letting them know, man, that, just go back and listen to this and hopefully you get something out of it. So that's all I got.
That was dope, man. That was dope. I think that's very important as well.
Thank you, man. What you got?
So the fact that you guys were having issues like sleeping, and I had issues sleeping before. I don't know how I got back to sleeping paralysis again, but I was looking it up and off of Reddit, and I think I sent it to you guys as far as like this post in regards to this guy that saying the experience that he had while in the sleep paralysis and everything that was going on. And it just, again, I just always remember back to all those times when I was freaking out, thinking I was being visited by aliens and all the negative. Hey, man, scared to go back to sleep. One of the times I remember where like you're in the state of it, in the paralysis, and like you're fighting, and you're just trying to like break out and like wake up, but you can't. But then there's times when you feel like you do. And you get like this, I got this like moment of relief. I'm like, oh God, thank God, I'm tired of going through this. And then, all right, let me just get up and go to work. And the next thing you know, you're still stuck in that same spot. You're like, oh shit, I'm still in the room. I'm still stuck here. It fucks with you, man. It fucks with you. So I know, Will, you said that you used to go through that, right? Or it happened to you a couple of times?
It happened a lot of times. And as far back as I was like 10, 11, somewhere around there. And then I finally figured out what I thought would trigger it. And I'm just saying it for me. I finally figured out what triggers that. And that was me sleeping on my stomach. For some reason, that triggered it for me. The minute I started sleeping on my back, like I never slept on my stomach like ever again. And it never happened ever again either. So
that would freak me out. Sleep paralysis on your stomach. I'd be definitely afraid of that. That I'd be nervous about. I'm not gonna lie.
But I think it doesn't matter really if you really think about it, because you still can't move. You don't even. I don't know if it like when I'm dreaming or in that state, if I remember if I was sleeping on my back or on my stomach.
Well, the thing that freaks me out would be if I'm sleep paralysis in I'm laying down on my stomach, but my face is being smothered by the pillow. You're about to suffocate yourself to that. That's what scares the shit out of me with that one.
No doubt. Right. But so even when you're sleeping on your back, you get this, well, I know some people call like the witch on your chest. You get a feeling like somebody's pushing you down, man, and you can't move. And like, so like, there's so many times like when you're in that state, or at least when I was in that state, that I would hear like all these voices and stuff like that, but there was no voice. It was me like grunting, like struggling to wake up, So I used to always think, again, I thought there was aliens and like, Just a whole bunch of weird shit happening to me, man.
So let me ask you, when was your last bout with that? Like, when did that happen last?
The last time I remember it happened when I lived in Saratoga, and that was 2000 and maybe from like 10 to 2012 or 13, so somewhere in that range.
Okay. And Will, you said that happened to you as a kid, right?
Yeah, 10, 11. Last time was like 11, 12. That's when I figured out the whole sleeping on my stomach thing.
So that happened to me one time as a kid, and it's never happened to me since. But here's kind of why I want it to happen, and let me explain. So when I was a kid, I living with my parents, I woke up in my room, and my eyes woke up, and could see the room, and I could not move for the life of me, like straight sleep paralysis. As a kid, I don't know how I feel about it as an adult, but as a kid, I took it in stride. Like, I was like, okay, I can't move. I said, hold on. I closed my eyes. I said, let me close my eyes. And I waited for a hot, 5-6 seconds maybe. And I opened up my eyes very slowly. And I was able to move. And as a kid, I was just like, that was the freakiest. Even as a kid, I was like, what the hell was that? And I discovered what sleep paralysis is. I'm not a religious person. I'm waiting to get somebody on this podcast for the religious episode. I'm just waiting for him to his schedule to clear up. So I'm not religious like that.
Do we know this person?
You guys know. You might have met him.
Okay.
My boy Stobes. I don't. The name you probably won't recognize him, but if you see him, you might recognize him. So I'm not religious by any means. But I have faith, and I consider myself a spiritual person. Meaning, do I believe in God by what definition is? Yes, something out there. Do I believe in the man-written version of this one and then this one and then this one? No. So I consider myself spiritual. There is a thing, and I spoke to Will about this years ago. The Saratoga days. I remember I was talking to Will about this. Out of body experiences.
Yep.
Crossing into the astral plane. I believe in that. Scientifically speaking, it's a science thing. They say once your brain waves hit the theta or the beta levels, you're then able to do it. Just because I'm a light sleeper and I can't sleep, and a couple of other factors, I can't get to that level. I want to be able to have at least one out-of-body experience in my lifetime. Just so anybody that's ever had it that I've spoken to, it's a life-changing experience. It gives validation to a lot of things outside of this physical world. So I would like to have that experience. I kind of stopped after a while. I got close one time. So there's different stages of when you're sleeping, and sleep paralysis is one of them.
Yep.
That is the runway to that takeoff. So, you know what? So then I guess I had another time then. So I've gotten real close to it because there's certain things that are expected that you're getting close to or about to have an out-of-body experience. Two things that I experienced was sleep paralysis. And so minus being that kid one time, a long time ago, having that experience, I've actually had it trying to have this experience. And B, they call it the vibrations. And that your body is perfectly still, but it feels like it's going like this. It just feels like it's shaking, like it's a vibration. It's a heavy vibration.
Harlem Shake.
You're Harlem shaking, but you're perfectly still. Pretty much, yeah. Picture that. So I was doing the Diddy Bop, but I wasn't moving. And I got close. That was the last time I got that close. But anything happens, it snaps you out of it, and you come right back. And
you told me one time that you had like where you felt like you were walking around, like floating around a house, down a hallway or something like that. Is that you?
Not me. It might have been the story I once told you. So I was first introduced to out of body experiences as a kid. I must have been, 13, 14, maybe 15 the most. And I was visiting my cousin in PA. We were hanging out at some hippie's house. And he was talking to this, it's been around forever. Astral projection and out of body experiences have been as old as time itself. So the hippie dude was talking about this story that he had a book, or he had a friend that had a book on how to do it, and he did it. But his girl didn't believe him. So he trained his girl to do it. And they both had an out-of-body experience. Long story short, they both had an out-of-body experience, and they met up in the hallway. And then when they snapped out of it, they both came running to each other like, "Did that shit happen? This shit?" And they realized that they had one. That might have been new. I've never had one.
I think maybe that sounds kind of like what you were saying. So maybe that was a story that you said.
I've never had one. I literally only want one. Just for the experience of it. Well, here's the negative side of it. Because I've spoken to different people in the spiritual realm. Funny though, because I've actually I've had these conversations very recently. Like very, very recently. One person I met, and she's super spiritual, does yoga, Buddhist, believes in all kind of spirituality. And I asked her about it, and she was like, "Don't do it." And I was like, "Well, why?" And there's a negative aspect to having an out-of-body experience. So the astral realm, as it's called, picture Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That realm comes with, there's positive and negatives in everything. So in talking to her, she was like, "Look, there's negative entities out there that wait for that shit." And in speaking with somebody else who's done it, two other people, they go, "Yeah, just, I was talking to him about it." He goes, "Oh no," he goes, it's freaky as fuck." Like they both agreed because they both did it. They were like, it's cool as shit, it's freaky as fuck, but there's things out there that are out there that are on that other side of reality. And they're like, it's nothing nice. So that one gives me a bit of a pause. But that's why I go, if I could just have one. Because again, just confirmation for life beyond here. Like that's kind of what I want out of it. But the positive aspects of it are crazy. Like you'd have to do your own research on it to see I'll talk forever about it, and I don't want to do it. You probably already seem like a fucking kook right now anyway, so.
No. I would like to do it too, but like you said, like there's negatives, like you said, to it. I heard that like when you like there are drugs out there that can bring you kind of to that supposed
DMT.
Yeah. And this person was telling me like, "Yo, if you're gonna do this one, you got to have like a positive mindset going into it. You have to, because what you're thinking in your head is kind of like what you're gonna be experiencing." So she's like, definitely positive. Make sure it's around people that you trust and that love you and care, whatever, if you can, just in case that you start freaking out and like you don't know what the hell's going on, or at least like maybe you'll recognize this person. This person's a safe person. I can relax and calm down. There's a lot of things that go inside of it, but she didn't mention anything as far as like and I'm not doubting what you're saying as far as like the negative entities out there and stuff like that, but she didn't experience anything like that negative. So she had a positive experience with it.
Funny how that boils down to positive and negative thoughts, just a cycle of what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So everything does go on that. So key is that outlook of it. If it's like having a bad trip, if you have a negative thoughts going into it and you're able to accomplish that, you are now attracting negative things when you cross over. If you opposite, if you're very positive, you might have the best experience ever. So the DMT thing, somebody introduced, because while I was talking, that person actually said that too. He goes, if you can't find it here, if you can't do it meditating and doing these practices to give you an out-of-body experiences, DMT. He goes, that's the synthetic way of doing it. And he goes, but those things are still there. So you have to have that positive mindset. Like, you have to be in a perfect positive place if you're gonna do it. So
I don't know why, but I always, whenever I think about this stuff, I always think of that dope movie back in the Sleepers with Keith Sutherland and Kevin Bacon, and
that's when they all die for a little bit and they get somebody to bring them back.
Yeah. They kind of like see the other side of things, and like they all have like these demons that come with it,
Julia Roberts, and that was actually a great movie, but that's like out of body experience to the extreme. That's like extreme OB. Like, I'm not talking about somebody kill me and then bring me back. I'm not talking about that.
Oh, well, you never saw that?
No, I was just looking it up here.
That shit freaked me out. That's the classic movie right there. And they just like remade it too, not too long ago. It's a different name, but they kind of use the same premise as far as like, doctors and going under and.
Oh, that's right. They did do it. I heard it sucked. I heard the reboot sucked.
Yeah, kind of like that. That's usually what happens. So I didn't even bother. If I want to see that, I'll go watch the original. That was great. That had like no flaws.
Yeah. So
Tommy Malone, was that kid's name? Tommy, little kid that was coming after Keith Sutherland.
Yeah, I don't remember the movie like that at all. I remember the movie, just I don't. You're saying character names and all that. You got me on that one.
Yeah, no, it's a great movie, man. Great movie.
So yeah, man, like there's books on out of body experiences. There's techniques that you can try. I just find myself hitting a wall. I come close twice, but I always end up hitting a wall. But again, it was something I would just like to experience one time. Yeah. The very spiritual person, the lady that I was talking to, she's like, seriously, don't do it. She's like, meditate, pick up Buddhism, do these things and have a euphoric experience. And I thank her for that. I appreciate that. Thank you for that advice. I'm like, but I'm looking past a euphoric experience. Like, that is some other shit that I would like to experience. And like I said, at least just one time.
No doubt. I'm in the same boat with you, man. I'm in the same boat. Just I don't know if it's for clarity. I don't know like how much clarity I would get, but like just for like the experience of what could be or what,
But that's what I'm saying. It's, you can say clarity, a validation, like the piece of the puzzle. Like, there's just, however you want to define what you're trying to look for, I get it. And it could be the clarity. I look at it as, the term I use is validation. Because, you hear religious talk, you hear this. Everybody has an answer, but nobody knows. That's kind of a way of getting an answer. Yeah. So, we'll see. I'll let you guys know.
Oh, man, hopefully one day.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Rappers, trust me, you guys will be the first I will tell, man.
I'm not gonna lie. As much as I want to do it, I've taken a step back just based off the conversations I've had with people, because I always look at it through the positive way, and people are just shooting negativity. Not negativity, like they're being real, and I appreciate that. But it's just the part I don't want to hear about. It's like the dark web. It's not the part I'm talking about. I'm not talking about this part, not that part. So, we'll see how it goes. I'll give you any updates if they happen. I have a book technically I have that it's collecting dust right now. I might wipe the dust off and go back to reading it. I don't know. Anybody that's interested is one thing, but the people I know that have done it, it's far past interested. They don't go, I was interested too. And if they did it, they'd be like, oh, I did that shit. And the people that I know that have done it, they all say the same thing. Like, it's great, but be careful. That's what that's the caution they give. Like, it's a great experience, but be careful. You're going down a dark alley. There might be some things there. So I don't know. Like I said, As much as I want to, those people are giving me pause. So I have to re-look into it and see what it happens and see what unfolds. We'll see.
Is it possible to have it done like next to a bank so you could like have an outer experience and like go into a bank or something?
I don't think you'll be able to pick up the money. You go through the money and then you go right through the wall, but you have to leave the money. Well, apparently you have complete control. You could visit the moon if you wanted to. There is no rules to reality at that point.
Yo, they hear like, so if you want, like on Reddit, there's a ton of people that talk about like this, and there's a lot of information on it. And damn, I forgot the term that they use. Like when like there's like a certain level, when you get to that level, they call it when you're shit, I forgot the lingo. Anyway, but they have like this little nickname for it. And yeah, that shit is just amazing, man. The stories that they come up as far as like they say like they just feel like they're being projected and like one dude, you just mentioned the moon. One dude said that he felt like he was looking at the moon and then he kind of just like rose up all the way to it. And it was like to the point where he was like, if you, like you said, if you break it, you're gonna wake up and be done with it. But he kind of like just stayed with it, whatever. And he was like losing his mind as he got like all the way up to the moon. Like, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, there is no time. Like time doesn't exist in that realm. I've heard you can visit people that have passed. I've heard, you can go to the past. There's the rules of reality do not apply to an astral projection. So there's so many questions that can be answered, and people find the meaning of a life that do it. Again, it's a life-changing thing if it's done and done right, and it's true.
That's instead of saying for clarity, for a life-changing moment. That's what I'm looking for. Hopefully in a positive way.
All goes back, huh?
If I was to do it.
Well, like I said, it all goes back to having the mentality of being positive or not. So,
yeah.
Full circle. Be positive. Moral of the story of today's podcast. Be positive.
Word up.
All right. So, yeah, man. So, shit. That's about it, I believe.
No.
I'm not crazy, I don't think. But who knows?
Far from it.
All right. So, unless anybody has anything to add, we will put a bow on this one. So, for Mr. William Landukes, I am Paul. Thank you again for hanging out with us for another Paul and Palz podcast. Catch us on YouTube, catch us on Spotify, catch us on Apple Podcasts, catch us on Google Podcasts, and a couple other ones. Other than that, links for everybody's things will be on the descriptions. And that's it, man. Hopefully everybody has a good Sunday, and catch everybody later. And that's it. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace. Oh, yeah, by the
Bye.